Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa Keisler, and I'm with Proterra, and I'm so excited to share that Proterra is launching a new podcast series called High Powered Insights. I'm so excited for you guys to listen in on our first episode coming up soon. But High Powered Insights is a podcast talking about the things that you want to hear about. So we'll talk about things from work-life balance to AI to manufacturing processes to technology, anything and everything, how to benefit you at work and in your work life. So with that, I hope you enjoy the first episode. Hey everybody, and welcome to High Powered Insights. My name is Marissa Keisler, and I'm so excited for you guys to join us on our first ever episode. Today, I am joined with Heather Johnas, and I will let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, Marissa. So my name is Heather Johnas, and I am the Director of Operational Excellence here at Proterra.
Awesome. So today we are going to talk about work-life balance and also continuous improvement in both what that means at work, but also what it means at home and what it can mean in your daily life. Heather is an excellent example of both of these things, which is why we have her today to talk. And I want to start with a question kind of around something that we've been building and the culture we've been building here within the operations team. So at Proterra, within the operations team, we have a saying, better never stops. Can you tell me what that means to you kind of on a day-to-day basis, not only at work, but also how do you incorporate that in your everyday life?
Yeah, for sure. So Better Never Stops is an initiative that our COO brought with him when he joined Proterra, and it has reshifted our mindset in terms of how we show up every day. For me, I think when I wake up in the morning, whether it's on the weekends or if I'm coming into work, it's getting into that mindset of what am I going to do today to either make my team better or my family better or myself better. And it's understanding that we're constantly changing and evolving, and there's always ways we can improve, whether it's in our personal life, building better relationships, or working on something that has been on our to-do list forever, or it's coming into work and tackling a project that we know is around a bottleneck that maybe we have on the production line. So.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I see that happening all the time with just different projects that everyone's involved in. And we really talk about better never stops is more of a mindset, not just like a slogan, not just a process, right? Like it's truly a mindset. So how do you see these kind of maybe continuous improvement principles showing up just maybe in just Proterrians kind of all around you?
Yeah. So I think there's visible change out on the production floor. So if you walked out there 6 months ago, we just did a full line relayout. So we basically optimized the flow of our battery pack, and we've made the stations more user-friendly for our operators. So I think that's one huge one. But then there's also small changes like redoing our pedestrian walkways or hanging up more signs to make it visible for people when they're in a high voltage area, or maybe where there's forklift traffic, things like that. So it's been bringing everyone back to the basics, but I think there's big wins and small wins out there that are super exciting.
Yeah, you just talked about like ergonomics. I feel like that is one thing. I feel even when I catch myself sitting at my desk, I'll be like hunched over and I'm like, what am I doing to my shoulders? And we are improving the line. How did just those like simple changes seem to kind of impact people?
Yeah, so I think number one, all of our projects have become cross-functional, and I think everybody getting around the mindset that better never stops has kind of reinvigorated everybody to get involved. So it's including the operators when we're doing like a line relayout and getting their feedback. Ultimately, they know the job better than we do. So allowing people to feel inclusive and part of the decision-making process, I think really has energized the team and made them motivated to accept kind of what we're doing. And then celebrating the small wins. So whether it's we just built our first packs off the new production line, or we're going to have a pizza party, all of those small things really make a big difference.
Yeah, you talk about new products and things, and I'm just thinking about this product sitting behind us, the H223, which is a new product in our Onyx Strata series, right? And this was kind of a new pack that we launched in a semi-new factory, and you played a huge part in that process, right? What are some of the kind of takeaways that you've seen in how we've grown and things that we can implement going forward in manufacturing?
I think launching a new product is no easy feat, and it takes a lot of cross-functional effort. So I think understanding that we all play such a critical part in a successful launch, and that maybe we need to look at how we did things in the past, and that mindset of better never stops. So what do we need to do differently to make sure that things are successful? So it's documenting those things. It's being open and honest about what we need to work on, and not being defensive in our silos. It's just acknowledging, hey, we all can get better and we all can learn from each other and the process.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And you also talked about celebrating small wins. And I think that's really important, maybe just for like personal improvements too. So what are some small wins that we could all like work towards or even celebrate at work, but also in our kind of like daily lives?
Yeah. So one of my like self-appointed jobs is I am the gym teacher at Proterra. So I'm always encouraging the team to kind of take small steps and in just their wellness and their mental health and the things that are important to them outside of work that just make them healthier. And so one thing that I encourage people to do often is go for a walk. And one of the fun things I like about here is you can come to Proterra and you'll see people taking laps around the building just to take a break or take a walking meeting, but that translates into their personal life, right? So it's going home and maybe saying to the family, like, let's go for a walk, and it's connecting with people at a different level that maybe you weren't going to do.
Yeah, I definitely love that about Proterra, because there's some days where I feel like I'm just trapped at my desk or I'm inside and I'm like, I just need some sunlight. And it's like, I'll ask somebody, hey, I need to brainstorm something, or I need to just chat through something that we're working on. I'm like, can we go outside and do a lap, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I get so much more accomplished just because I'm outside moving and like seeing the sunlight. We also, you're a champion for our 5Ks. We've started a pickleball club. You also did this really cool thing with Wellness Bingo, which included a lot of other things outside of just like physical activity. Yeah. Maybe you can kind of talk about that, because I really felt like that made an impact on people.
Yeah. So I wanted to make Wellness Bingo something that everybody was on board and felt like that they could do. And it kind of focused on setting small habits or trying something new that maybe they wouldn't have tried. But it was simple things like listen to a new podcast, or bring a healthy lunch, or try a healthy snack. And then other things like go for a walk. My favorite one was do 50 push-ups in a day, because I got to walk around and randomly see people doing push-ups at their desk. But yeah, I think those are the types of things that help us get everyone kind of out of their like day-to-day dig into work and start interacting and building relationships here. And I think that has helped us a lot around teamwork and team building.
Yeah, I also love the team building aspect of this, because I feel like something that I've seen from just doing like the pickleball and doing the 5Ks, that we have kind of everybody from every single level within the company, right? I think it's really awesome to see, you know, individual contributors to CEOs and COOs kind of interacting and mingling, and like, you know, people's names. And I think that's really important, because I think that also helps with some of the work-life balance, right? Like if you're starting to like lose your motivation on a day, or like you're really facing a hard thing at work, like there's a lot of people that I feel like I can go to now, right? Yeah. So maybe let's talk about the importance of like building community like within work, right? I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think that makes me think about kind of building a culture of excellence versus driving to a culture of burnout. And I think just like any company, we've had periods of where maybe we had some more difficult times. And I think focusing on how we rally together and lean on each other and build those relationships is super important. And I think having the culture where we are able to do fun things, but then we also hold each other accountable is super important. So it's understanding when to push each other in a healthy way, and when to pull back, and knowing that like excellence isn't linear, right? Yeah. So we are going to go through phases, and right now I think all the activities that we're kind of adding to build our culture back up has been really impactful.
Yeah, what we do here isn't easy, right? Like we are building durable, safe, efficient, rugged batteries that go into heavy duty vehicles, right? I mean, they're going into Class 8 trucking, they're going into construction equipment, they're going to import equipment. Like these things are built tough, right? And so what we do isn't always easy. And I think you really do need a community around you to be able to do the work that we do.
Yeah.
And you talked about kind of like excellence versus burnout. And I think that's a really important thing to note because we've got a lot of amazing people that work at Proterra. I'd say some of the best people I've ever met, some of the brightest, the smartest, the hardest working people work here at Proterra. So maybe the difference in pushing towards excellence versus pushing towards burnout, and how do you as an individual kind of recognize where that line is?
Yeah. I think in a culture of excellence, you see a lot of high energy and a lot of people ready to share their thoughts, and feedback is accepted. It's not kind of like a cutthroat, or people aren't super defensive in like they feel safe to make mistakes and to share their ideas. When you're pushing towards burnout, I think you start to see people pull back. You may see increased absences or call outs, things like that. So I think it's just being hyper aware, especially if you're a leader, and in really getting to know your people. And really getting to know what you're asking of them and explaining the why. I think that's a big piece of it. And getting people comfortable with what the mission and the goals are is super important. And when you have that, and when people can rally around that and they understand how they fit in and what their role and responsibility is, then they're excited to be here. And I think that's how you drive excellence.
Yeah. As someone who I see as a high performer and just like a go-getter, which is you, I mean, you talked about you're kind of the wellness champion, right? Like that was totally not something that you just were asked to do. Like you totally just did that on your own. You're a high performer in your job. You teach CrossFit like on the side. Like you do all these things, right? Like how do you maintain your energy every single day, and what keeps you from hitting a burnout point?
Yeah, I think it's because I do things that I truly enjoy. And I think there's definitely days where I feel like I've pushed myself a little too far. Maybe my schedule is a little bit too much, but I think it's taking that step back and being grateful for just kind of the small wins, or focusing on the relationships that I've built or how I'm impacting other people. That really motivates me.
Yeah, and I'd say you're definitely someone that I see as an impact to everyone around us. If you ever check us out on LinkedIn and you see any photos from a lot of team building or like runs or anything like that, it's probably Heather was the one that set everything up, and that was definitely some outside of her job that she's supposed to do on a regular basis. And I know that people here really, really, really appreciate that. I recently sat in on one of your operations team meetings, and I thought it was really cool that you kind of gave somewhat like advice. And I think it might have been from like a book that you had recently read, and you were kind of passing that on, right? So, what's maybe one piece of advice that you would give to other leaders that want to drive success while also supporting their team's well-being?
Yeah. So in that leadership meeting, I had just read Bill Belichick's book, The Art of Winning. And so that book really resonated with me, and it's really built around asking yourself every single day is, what am I going to do today to help my team win? And I think I kind of referenced that in the beginning of this chat, but it puts you in the mindset every day of, how am I going to show up for my team, and how am I going to help them win? And as a leader, I think it's so important to be a servant leader, right? So get to know your team, understand what motivates them, and be a place where they can come and kind of vent and share their ideas and thoughts, because they know their role better than you do. And so, and every single person plays such a key role for the overall team to win. So being a place where you can really uplift your team and motivate them is super important.
Yeah, I love that. So maybe what's one small continuous improvement habit that someone could start this week? And we'll start with what they could start with at work.
Okay. So I think one thing would be, every morning when you come in, write down one or two things that need to get done that day. I think it's really easy to sit down or get wrapped up in a huge to-do list, and then, or get here and then get sucked right back up into the fury of the day. So if you can take 3 minutes to write down one or two things that's really important for you to get done that day, and then you do it and then you focus on that, I think that's super impactful.
Yeah, I definitely think that I could probably benefit from that, because I feel like sometimes I have this like ever-growing list of to-dos, and I'm like, what is actually really important for me to get done today to be successful? And then maybe what's a continuous improvement habit that I could or we could implement in our daily life kind of at home?
I think one easy thing that I always tell people when they come to me and they're like, I want to start my fitness journey, it's setting up a small goal in the beginning, whether it's every day this week I'm going to walk for 10 minutes. And it's something outside of what you would normally do. And in my opinion, that's something that you can kind of drag friends or family members along with you. So it has multiple benefits, but just getting out in that sunshine or in the rain, whatever it is, and taking that 10 minutes to yourself undistracted, I think is good. And the more you do that, you look forward to that time, and then you build on those like endorphins or happy feelings that you get when you do something active. So I definitely would say start with a 10-minute walk every day.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Heather, for joining us today. And if you like what you hear, please follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe to our newsletter to stay up to date with what's going on at Proterra, and see you next time.